You cannot know real silence. You cannot be silence. Unless you meet the existential terror of being totally alone. And each of us carries that in some way, because we are each born alone. We are each expelled from the womb of oneness. Somewhere, that terror of aloneness shows up in our lives. It might not seem that way, but some relationship, and it doesn't have to be a relationship to another, although it most obviously is, that's the most obvious one, but it could be the relationship to our bodies, to our well-being, to our bank account, to our work, to our creativity. Every aspect of the human experience, everything that can be expressed through you, can carry the wound of separation. That's usually the place where we have the most fear, the most struggle, the most denial. Or the most need. The embodiment of awakening requires us to see that division in all those areas. Nothing is too unspiritual. Nothing is separate from awakening. Awakening doesn't take us off into another realm where we transcend the human experience. It doesn't magically make the human experience perfect. That's the other myth. That suddenly, in awakening, our lives are easy. And everything comes to us by grace. Abundance, love, relationship, everything flows. There is a level of truth in that everything is grace. We are no longer the center of operations. We are not the manifester of the mystery. The mystery manifests through us and is inseparable from us. But it does not mean that the trajectory of your life suddenly comes to a full stop and you live an enlightened, perfect human experience. It means that everything in your life that was previously in the shadows, in other words, was separate to your inquiry, separate to the clear light of seeing, comes rushing in to be seen and healed and resolved in love, in light, in clarity, in honesty, in intimacy. Everything from the darkest experience, the most challenging experience, the most painful experience. Everything is the beloved in disguise. It is only you that separates the beloved into this image and everything that is not aligned to that image as not the beloved. The beloved is everything. God is in everything. God is everything. That is fullness. That is fullness. Even rage, even hatred, even resentment, even regret. Everything is a doorway to love. Not because you draw it all in and hold on to it. You don't hold on to your rage and create a trophy out of it. You don't hold on to your hatred and create an image of the beloved out of it. They're doorways, because everything comes rushing in. To dissolve back into love, to dissolve back into non-judgment, to dissolve back into emptiness. When rage is not judged, when your rage, your irritation, your disappointment, your brokenness, your worthlessness, or whatever it is that you're running away from, is no longer judged by you, then it comes to rest in emptiness and dissolves and resolves itself back into love. Not love of something, but simply love as the place, space, without content. That's the doorway. Then you can live fully awake and fully human. Fully human means that you are here and everything, the whole mess and the whole beauty and the whole lot is pouring through you. It's alive, it's present, it's unending. Whilst you're alive, it's unending. And yet you are fully awake, which means you are not in denial of anything. You are not avoiding, you are not contorting, you are not creating mental and emotional acrobatics around your experience. It is simply as it is, and your response is whatever your response is. Your response becomes right action when you stop fighting and arguing with your experience. Doesn't mean you become a passive, peaceful, enlightened caricature. But you move from non-division. You move from non-judgment. Sometimes that movement is wrathful. Wrathful. Sometimes that movement means you pick up a sword and chop off his or her head. And sometimes that movement has no movement in it at all. It is so still that you cannot find the world in it. Either way, action or non-action, when it arises as the song of silence, then it is love. And that's what's going to change the world. Not trying to become a perfect spiritual being. Not trying to transcend. Not trying to remain untouched. To be fully awake and fully human means the whole spiritual conversation collapses. Because there is no more division between being spiritual and being unspiritual. If humanity is going to evolve, then we must take this conversation, as long as it's still happening, a little bit further than simply trying to realize non-dual awareness. Yes, go inside. Yes, go right up to the void, to that edge, the edge where mind can no longer take you. Stand at that edge and allow the psychological knot of self to be annihilated. Yes, go all the way, because without that there is no transformation of consciousness. But then, allow the world. And by the world, I mean your life. The world as it filters into this thing called your life. Allow it to be a further purification. Because however deep, complete, profound, all-encompassing, true, your non-dual realization, your awakening out of the dream, there is a whole backlog of your human karma that you've dragged along with you into this moment that says, what about me? And it all comes rushing in to be purified in this awakeness. It doesn't suddenly get left behind. There's no dumping ground. Yes, you've woken up out of your story. Yes, you have realized that you are not yourself, or rather not the self. But there's a whole bag of unexamined, unincluded energies, experiences that were not met and somehow got shoved into the shadows. And they're still alive. And that's what's yearning to be met now. And purified in the fire, in the light. of the awakeness that has been born in you. But usually that's where another layer of struggle comes in, another layer of division comes in, because there's an attempt to hold on to the awakeness, the awakened state. So that's when the split between human and awake starts to sneak in. And it's very sneaky, it's very tenacious, and we often don't see it. But that's where the invitation is.